Grand Rising, brothers and sisters. I am Tisha Hillman, and this is Sis We Need to Talk. It's a weekly internet show where I talk to specifically my black sisters about ways that we can have fruitful and productive conversations surrounding what it is that we say that we want. So we talk often about wanting relationships and love and whatever it may be, but sometimes we don't really talk about how to obtain those things and what our desires look like in the real world. And so it's always my intention to have conversations on this show that will force us to have deeper conversations as people that will help us to be our best selves. And so today I want to talk about a topic that I started talking about last week, which is how words matter. And so we talked a lot last week about the genesis of certain words like energy and currency and how they effectively mean the same thing. And today we're going to go in a little bit deeper about these words and words in general and the power that they hold. And so I really want to talk about bullying and the push to be petty. Because one of the things that we've done as a society, in essence, is we've gotten to the place where we want to be petty. We thrive on being petty. We thrive on dragging people. And so I look at that and I really want to know what that's about, because I don't know. I don't know what that's about. I don't know ultimately how we got to this place. But what I do know for sure is that it has an impact on us as people. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get my little Facebook Live thing here. This is a new thing for me, this, Facebook Live thing. On my own personal page. So my friend calls me a troglodyte. I think he might actually be right. But because we're talking about bullying and the push for petty, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but last week there was a post by a young lady, and you can see the post behind me. This was a post by a young lady on Facebook named Taisha Beatty. And she made the post, as you can see, well, the picture went away. But basically, on the post, she was talking about the bills that she has and how much her bills are. And because of that, how I interpreted it was, this is why I don't have time this is why I don't get what you do in text, or WYD texts. And as you can see, well, it went away again, but it was shared thousands and thousands and thousands of times, comments after comment after comment, as some of them are listed here. And so joining me on the show is Taisha Beatty. But before Miss Beatty starts to talk to us about the post and all of the aftermath that followed from it, I want to tell you who Taisha Beatty is. I know that people believe that they know who she is by virtue of a Facebook post that largely was misinterpreted, but doesn't matter. But sometimes we can forget that we are the sum of our parts, that no one person is who they are based on one moment in time, one brief glimpse, if you will, into an event, right? Most people, that's not who they are. Most people are a lot more substantive than simply, a snapshot. And so, Miss Beatty is a mom. Miss Beatty has an MBA from North Carolina Central. She has a BSW from UNCW. She is currently a Juris Doctorate candidate, and she lives in South Orange, California. And obviously, her bill's high as hell, like most of ours are, if you live in America, But anyway, and I say that because Miss Beatty is so much more than a Facebook post. She's so much more than whatever it is that people who don't know her are saying about her, and about her situation. And so I want Miss Beatty to join the discussion. And so I'm going to, so Miss Beatty, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
And so hopefully everyone can hear. But again, joining us is Taisha Beatty. First, Ms. Beatty, thank you so much for joining us on the East Coast. I know that it's like not even 8:30 in the morning there. So I certainly appreciate your time. Peace and blessings to you for joining us today.
I appreciate you having me this morning, and thank you for your interest in this as well.
Oh well, no worries. As I say every week, my intention is always to have fruitful and productive conversations with my people, and by my people I mean Black people, and with a specific focus on my sisters, because I think that there are a lot of things that we do, and there are a lot of things that we can do to harm ourselves and our communities, as well as to help ourselves and our communities. And so it's always my intention to have conversations around these issues, to help us to basically be better than we were yesterday. So tell me about this post. So the post, well, it just went away again. But so tell me about this post. This happened what, like a week ago?
Yes, about a week ago. I actually had already been seeing a few little things posted, random people referencing, I don't have time for WID.
Mm-hmm.
They may put a picture of whatever. I don't have time for WID text. So you said it's thanks for the WID text, and I'm going to myself, I don't even get them. So I'm thinking, I don't even get them. And so I just decided to say, let me write a list.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote a generic, and it was intentionally ambiguous. This is why I don't get WID text.
Mm-hmm.
And I put that following my bills, and I go, I wonder what they're going to think I mean. Because I read it, and I go, oh, maybe I need to be a little more clear. And then I go, no, I wonder what they're going to say. And I'm thinking, when I say they, I'm thinking about my little collective that when I post on Facebook, that only see my post. So it's only ever just a handful of people,
Right.
And so I posted, and I took it down. I go, no, because people don't, read thoroughly, and I don't want anybody to catch offense. And I go, no, put it up. Let's see what they get from it. So I was really curious on their interpretation of what they saw and what it was going to mean to them. And my focus was that sentence, this is why I don't get WID text. So I was really expecting people to draw the conclusion that, one, maybe she's busy and she doesn't have time, to go out and mingle and entertain, and that's why she's not getting them. Or, no guys want to talk to her because look at all those skills. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of was along the lines of the focus thing on the WID text, but it went way left, and that part was shocking to me.
Well, I would, Taisha, I would say that yes, it did go way left. That is absolutely true, sis. It went way left. But let me ask you this. So, you told us that your intention, if I'm understanding you correctly, your intention in doing the post was essentially to highlight why you don't get these texts, and basically I just want to make sure that I'm understanding. So, was it to highlight that you don't get the WID text and why you don't get the text, or was it something else?
Well, a social experiment in a sense. I was curious to know their interpretation of what I wrote because I don't get them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not an issue. You know what I mean? So
right.
I was just like, let me see how they would take this. What do they think? I really want to know how would people perceive what I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more of just trying to figure out. For one, I wanted to know their perception. Two, I wanted to know why. Is it reflective of what they've done in their life or their experiences? You know what I mean? So I just was kind of trying to figure out or just see what could come of it. But again, my focus was the WID text. I don't have a complaint about not getting them. I don't think that I would want WID text, especially for new people, because, it's a negative connotation in itself for some. Not all, but for some. And it's personally not an issue. But I just wanted to know what the way that I wrote it and the way it is it's so open for interpretation, and I know that, and I just was curious to know how it would be perceived.
Mm-hmm. So are you saying that like it was more a social experiment than anything else?
Yes.
Okay. And so when did you find out that the post had actually gone viral?
It seemed like it was almost immediately.
Was it the same day?
Yeah, the same day. Maybe within an hour or so. Yeah, like immediately. I posted it. I maybe got a like or two here, and then all of a sudden my phone just started taking off. Taking off. And I'm going, really? And I thought it was weird because I was like, okay, it's just not really much going on with that post. And, and I probably have posted more controversial stuff. And a lot of the times I just do it to get a laugh because it's Facebook, You can't put too much into it and you can't take too much from it. That's how I feel about it. It's just social media for entertainment.
Right.
And it didn't get any type of response. So, like I say, previous things that may have been a little more controversial didn't get any response. So I was curious to I'm going, what is it about this that's got my phone sounding off so much? And then I took an interest in the comments. And I'm going, well, wait, that's not what I wrote. Because the first thing I see is, some of the first ones I saw is, what do you mean you don't have time? And I'm going, where did I even write the word time? What? And I started to try to say, no, what? Just read it. And then I go with dovetail. That's what you want. You want their perception. So now I'm like, okay, let's see what we get from this.
So okay, so now I'm a little confused, and I just want to make sure that I'm clear because I never want to misstate what it is that someone is saying in terms of what they're trying to communicate as well as their intentions. So were you essentially trying to get a rise out of people, or you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to really understand because you said it was a social experiment. And then you kind of wanted to see where it went from there with the understanding that it was open for interpretation. So I'm trying to really understand that.
Yes, well, no, I wasn't trying to get a rise. And like I was saying earlier, I have, my friends on Facebook, it's usually just a handful of people, that kind of you interact with on a daily basis. And no matter, it seems the number of friends that I have, it's so many of them that I probably have never seen anything they've ever posted. So my thought process was centered around just my little group of people. And I just wanted to know, would they take it as me being too busy to get them? Or looking and saying, no guy wants to be bothered with all of those feelings. Because I thought we were going to have a laugh because, it's a couple of people that we can just go back and forth. And, I've seen this and I've seen that. Well, what do you mean? Just a little conversation. I felt like a little bit of conversation.
Right.
But I was very curious of how they would read that and what it would mean to them.
And I just want to apologize to the people on Facebook Live that I keep moving my camera because I have no idea how to make this camera work, y'all, and I'm so sorry. Like, I'm not savvy when it comes to that type of stuff, so I apologize for all the camera moving. So, what was your initial reaction though, when you found out that this social experiment, I guess that I've set out, not really knowing the reaction. Now that I've gotten the reaction, first, what was the reaction, and then what was your reaction to the reaction? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
The reaction was overwhelmingly negative. Negative. And most of it, what I was seeing initially was, how, and I'm paraphrasing a lot of this stuff because I can't remember a lot of it verbatim. In a sense, who do you think you are that you don't have time for what you do in text? Or you're not even cute. Nobody wants to text you what you're doing. And I'm going, okay, good. And then immediately it's, you're a liar. Look at those bills. What is your rent doing so high? So the first she was saying to me that was what you do in tax, and then it went straight to my bills. Is that you're a liar? There's no way you could be making that type of money. Just look at you. Look at your clothes. Look at your jewelry. Look at your headboard. You're not cute enough to be making any money. You're not cute enough to be paying that type of rent. I don't pay that type of rent. I don't know anybody that pays that type of rent. My friend knows someone that lives over there, and they don't pay that type of rent. And I'm going, okay, where is this coming from?
Right.
What does the bills have to do with anything? That was nowhere on my mind. I just jotted down what was normal for me in this area. You know, I didn't put any forethought into the bills. I just knew it was a full sheet of them, and I just wrote down, you know, what they kind of average out, and of course they fluctuate monthly. But I didn't. My focus was the WIP thing, and they went straight to the bills, and then I was like, oh my God, why can't I be able to afford this? What is it about me that makes you feel like there's absolutely no way that I can afford to pay a bill like that?
Let me ask you this, Taisha, because one of the things that I saw a lot, and please correct me if I'm wrong, was there was a lot of questions about your financial choices, about your financial planning, about your income. Is it fair to say that that was a lot of what it was that you were receiving in terms of comments?
Yeah, it was. That is fair to say. That is fair to say. And I think that kind of came up after people were starting to point out, okay, maybe she doesn't live where you live. Think. It's like, wait a minute, people, think. This girl could be in a whole nother area, a whole nother state, a different city from you. The cost of living is different. The rate of pay is different. Taxes are different. Ordinance are different. Everything is so many factors to consider. What are you doing automatically assuming that there's no way? And then, well, how much money does she make? And it just started to snowball into that. And then I think that's when they started trying to dig around to see, well, who is she? And where is she at really? And what does she do? And then that's when those LinkedIn profile pics and things started surfacing.
So let me ask you this. There's this one comment that's here by a Facebook user, and it's I think on the next slide, but he says, no one is obligated to pay your bills, dirty bitch.
Yes.
And I saw a lot of
one of thousands, literally thousands, blatant disrespect.
So was this ever at all about, trying to get people to pay your bills? Because again, to be honest with you, I was completely flabbergasted that this even became a thing, right?
Me too.
Because I'm just like, I don't understand what's confusing about that. Like, maybe the girl doesn't have time because she got grown-ass bills. Maybe she don't have time for small talk because she got grown-ass bills. Who knows?
And it's funny that I started to take that stance with regards to my post. Now, initially, no. I mean, it never, still to this day, has nothing to do with getting somebody to pay my bill.
Right.
Absolutely nothing.
Right.
Because then you just say, send me money. It's really that simple. You get what I'm saying? And then you don't, it's always a way. It's always a way. So it's not even, it wasn't about getting anybody to pay my bill at all. I wasn't even complaining about the bill. That it is what it is. I chose to live in South Orange County. I've been here 4 or 5 years. So it is what it is. That's not an issue. But it turned into the disrespect that came when they were starting to become so disrespectful and so degrading and so demeaning. And I'm like, well, okay, I don't have time. You know what I'm saying? For that. To be honest, but that was not my intent to deliver that initially. You get what I'm saying? But you kind of, you want to get a little defensive. I kind of feel like, well, I don't. And I do feel like my time is a little more valuable than that. And I do, at the same time, understand that it depends on the context of the relationship or the nature of the relationship of the person that is communicating that to me. You know, you get a lot of, well, my husband, okay, but you're already married. It's established.
Right.
Or my friend, but y'all are just friends and you're not courting or you're not trying to date. You know what I'm saying? So it's different. So the initial WIDs, I don't even, like I said, I don't get them anyway. If I'm communicating with a guy, he approaches me a little different than that. Because I personally don't feel like I would entertain that from someone new anyway. I want to set a standard for me. You know, people will treat you the way you teach them to. So no, I wouldn't just want that from somebody that I feel like is trying to develop a little more than just a casual friendship for me.
Now, Taisha, do you feel like sometimes as women we can be held to this standard of impossibility when we're trying to have standards? Is that what you think is happening here?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's the horrible thing about that is I also consider that we're trying to set a standard. We want to stick by that standard. The people whose eye we're trying to catch, or you know, the ones we're trying to get interest in, always express they want you to have a certain standard. But it's like when you implement that, how dare you? How dare you? You know what I'm saying? You do that for everyone else, not me. And then at the same time, it's like the little girls are watching. The little boys are watching.
You know, that's a really good point.
Like, I feel like, make up your mind. I want to be saying, sometimes I really want to say, make up your mind.
Right. Now, that's a really good point that you make there, Taisha, because one of the things that we've talked about in the show is what women actually want. And what both men and women, but because the show is, geared toward my sisters, I really focus on Black women and our desires and how we communicate those things. But I think you make an excellent point when you mention, do you want me to have standards, or do you just not want me to have standards when it comes to certain things? Because I think that's sometimes what can happen with us as people in general, men and women alike. It's like, okay, it's okay for me to set boundaries here. But when it applies to me or to what I think is important, you don't set standards and you don't set boundaries for those things, because I want the opportunity to say what I want to say and to do what I want to do and to treat you how I want to, and you have no right to tell me that I can't do X, even if it's to you.
Absolutely. This post, Tisha, let me tell you, it raised so many questions for me, and it just set off so much. It's just like a storm in my mind. It's, you know, do you want me to have a standard? Are you looking at me and demeaning me and dismissing me because I'm a woman? And I'm maybe being a little more successful than you as a man? Or are you upset at me because I'm a Black woman and Black women can't do anything? You know what I'm saying? What is the deal? It's just so many different things. It's like I found myself thinking, okay, when it's someone and she's up there and she's naked and she's got this hanging out and she's turned around and she's propped up on the sink and you get what I'm saying? When we got those, we don't. It's not an issue. It's just like that's the norm. When we've got when we're being shown or depicted in the media negatively, in a negative light, you know, they always, you know, have those hard words, dangerous, or you know, some type of word, and then it's that image of that black skin. You can associate that negative word with that skin. So whenever you hear words like that, the first image that comes to your mind is that black skin. So when we see those negative images, those are the norm. Those are natural. That is okay. But then it comes to, you see someone and they're successful, and if it's not like that handful that it's been universally accepted, it's impossible.
Mm.
So then I'm thinking, well, do you feel like it's just impossible for black people to be successful and to be intelligent and to be business owners and to do wonderful things and to live in affluent areas or, up and coming areas or whatever? I was all over the place. What is the problem? Is it that I'm a woman? Is it that I'm a black woman? Is it your own personal thing that you're going through? I went through so many different questions and emotions, so I just had to pull it back, and I had to just let them do what they needed to do with that post.
So that brings me to our next question, Taisha. When you saw that the post had gone viral, and you saw the vitriol that people were spewing online, what was your initial response to that? What was your initial reaction?
Initially, I was wanting to explain, because I'm thinking, no, wait, let's talk about it. And then I was hurt. Like, oh my God, what did I do?
Mm.
I didn't do anything. Did I say the wrong thing? Let me go read that thing again. Did I put a word up there that I forgot that I put? Am I hurting someone's feelings? Because you're hurting mine.
Mm.
And then I got, angry. Went through the whole range. Then I got angry. And then I'm going, oh, you said this, so let me go click on your profile. Are you kidding me? You get what I'm saying? I went through that. And then I go, don't respond, though. It's not worth the response. Mm-hmm. Then I had to bring it all back in and say, Ty, think about this. Why? I had to deduce my own conclusions of why would they respond in such a way.
Did you come up with anything?
And I had to find something I think that helped to calm me down. They can only process and respond from their level of understanding or their experiences.
Mm.
And that helped me go, okay, well, if they don't know, they just don't know. If they don't understand, they just don't understand. So you can't be upset about that. Just let them be who they are.
Mm.
That's just who they are. That's all that they know. Hopefully one day they'll get to experience something outside of where they seemingly are trapped at.
Mm.
Or maybe they'll develop a different understanding of the way the world works and how things vary from state to state or even county to county. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But until it won't benefit me to sit there and go back and forth with everybody, because it's like you can't teach thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people that don't want to learn anything.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, some of it was just trolling. Some people were just up there and just, jumped on bandwagon, they taking it for a little ride, and they're just, mouthing off, just because everybody's mouthing off. And oh my gosh, they didn't help with the bullying. They lend to it.
Mm.
They encourage it. But they were just up there just because. But I just kind of I felt taken aback when it was people that genuinely felt this way in their heart. And I just got to the point where I was just like, oh my gosh, what is wrong? I had a little space where I had to pray and meditate and, remove that from you, separate yourself from that. That is their experience. That's the life that they're living. That's all that they know, and they can't give you what they don't have to give. If all they have is hate or disrespect or whatever, that's all they're giving.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to receive it. I can just move on. And that was definitely a choice.
Now, I do want to talk a little bit about that, but because I have two Facebook Live posts going here, I do want to let the people know on my personal Facebook page that on the line we're talking to Taisha Beatty, whose Facebook post went viral last week after she talked about her bills, and you can see there's a post in the it's flashing on the background, the post. Where she was stating that she didn't have time for WYD texts, and it was a photo of her bills that went viral. So we're talking about that if you're just now tuning in. But Taisha, I want to go for a second. First and foremost, I'm very, very sorry for the experience that you had and the fact that you had to go through, as we call it, when you go over a certain bridge, you got to pay the trolls, right?
Absolutely.
And so it sounds like you have a level of internal peace and internal understanding that kind of helps you through this process. Is that fair to say?
Yes, for sure.
Now I saw a post and I saw this one here where it says that you have friends and family and strangers and people that were basically there for you to kind of help you, I guess, pick up the pieces, so to speak. Tell me why that was important for you to have people that had your back. Tell me why that was important for you at that point.
At that moment, it was super important because it helped me to feel, or it helped me to know that I wasn't alone. That even though I know I had no ill intention, or I didn't feel like it was as serious as it was, that it just felt good to know that someone believed me and someone cared and someone respected how I felt, or someone would agree. Or I've even had women say, "Girl, I feel the same way, but I'll be too afraid to say it." And I got up there and I spoke out for you because I could understand it. And I was like, "What?" That really felt good, because you read that negative and that negative and that negative, and you start to go like, it kind of just starts to weigh heavy on you.
Yeah.
And then you see somebody come in with that post, or someone send you that encouraging message, and it lifts all of that stuff right up, and it's like it helped me to get back into my regular self. And it helped me to dismiss all of that negative stuff. And I made that post because there's just absolutely no way I can thank everybody. It was so many strangers that, they would jump in and just give their perspective. Even though they were arguing for me, they were giving their perspective. And then I had some that specifically went to bat for me. And they said my name, and how dare you do that to her, and how dare you say these things, and you want to know something, you ask, and and I appreciated all of it, and there's absolutely no way I could tell everybody that I appreciated it, because I did. That was huge. That was huge for me.
Now, Taisha,
that was needed at that moment.
Now, Taisha, let me ask you. So, at one point, I saw on your Facebook page that you actually had people direct messaging you, telling you to kill yourself. Is that the case?
Oh my, yes. On Facebook, I see all these messages come through. Lots and lots of messages. I'm trying to be strategic in the ones that I click on, because I'm an artist as well. So a lot of those were coming in. I saw your artwork. You're wonderful. What are your rates? So I was trying to kind of gauge, which ones do I click. But, when they're really short, you can just see what they typed out without actually clicking on it. And I'm scrolling down and I see "kill yourself," and I go, wait, that can't be what I'm looking at. Maybe, is that the title? Is that the subject of what this message is? Because I just couldn't process that. And I'm like, kill yourself? Really? Or you need to die? Who do you think you are? And I'm like, death? Really? Facebook evoked that type of fury and disdain out of you that you are wishing death on me? And it's funny because I even got LinkedIn messages. And of course I screenshot them. One of the guys went back and tried to block me, and I'm like, dude, come on. You're on LinkedIn with this foolishness? In my inbox, DMing me, filthy, lengthy message at that.
Wow.
So those I wanted to document, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But at the same time, okay, you are really somewhere else, mentally and emotionally, if not psychologically. So I can't even, put too much time over there.
Right.
I can't do it. But at the same time, I need to stay aware, and I want to be safe also, because some people really take things to heart.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a second, because obviously, the title of the show today is how words matter, bullying, and the push to be petty. What do you think, after experiencing social media bullying and having grown ass people telling you to kill yourself because you made a Facebook post. What do you think this push to be petty? What do you think that's about?
I think it's about not only just trying to fit in, but I do also attribute it to just not being personally satisfied with oneself, no matter what area of life that they're in, and not being able to deal with it. So they have to project. Maybe if they're not mature enough to recognize their issues or address their issues, or they don't know how to process what's going on, and the only thing they have to do is to tear you down because of what they're feeling. And it's just easy. Weak people do easy stuff. It's just easy.
Now, I try to be very careful on my show, and not, not to censor your story or anything like that, but for me, I try not to use words that are judgment words, right? Because I try to really just sit back, and when I can, I'm human too. I have, but I really try to sit back and observe and listen, as opposed to, making a judgment on the thing. I try to learn, if you will, from the experience that I'm currently in. And so, with that being said, like I do want to say, I know you use the word weak, and I understand that that's a part of your story and a part of your narrative in terms of how you describe, what you were going through. But I guess when I look at it, and if I'm giving it really my full higher self, if you will, people really are in a tough place, in society. I was born in 1976, right? And so my generation was the last generation to know life before cell phones and after cell phones. So even though I'm still a troglodyte when it comes to figuring out what way to turn my camera on Facebook, I know, what it was like to have to go to the library and use the card catalog. And now I know what it's like to, have the entire world's disposal of information at the palms of your hands on multiple devices, right? So I find that, we're in just such a unique place where we can look at things from a perspective that's very, very unique. And the reason I bring that up is this. When you have constant distractions, whether it be bills you can't afford, people that are trying to drain you of your energy, whatever it may be, cell phones constantly, devices in your face, telephones, this device, that device, all of these things constantly in your face. Sometimes I've found that these things simply are tools to distract us from looking in the mirror. Because as long as you have a camera or a device in your face, not only can you not clearly see the person or the thing in front of you, that includes yourself.
Absolutely.
And so I realize, you have these, these thumb thugs, as I call them, on social media. You have people that will say things behind a keyboard or behind the anonymity, so to speak, of a social media profile. But when you talking about, sometimes you got to bring it to your front door, right?
Yeah.
Because the truth of the matter is, when you put that type of energy out, negative energy, telling people to kill themselves, you don't know where you find people, right? You don't know who people are because you're not looking. And you're being, toxic yourself, right? So it's like you're not even looking at who this other person might be. And like you said, Taisha, like you have no control over how people respond, but you do have control over yourself. That's kind of what I'm getting from what you're saying. But, I also realize that for people that feel the need that they have to constantly be on somebody's profile or whatever, dragging people, right? You get joy from dragging people. Why? Do you understand what you're doing when you are, quote unquote, dragging people and getting joy from that? If you think about this in the real world, not just the social media world, you have people that were literally drawn and quartered,
Oh my God.
tied to vehicles and dragged. Why would we want to do this to someone else who is now getting threats of, violence? Why would we do that? Because if we were doing this in the physical, that's what that has the effect of. You're taking someone's being and you're dragging it to make it dirty for your own amusement. We wouldn't want that for someone else. We wouldn't want that for our friends or our family or our loved ones. Why do we take such pleasure in doing that to other people? We wouldn't want someone to look at a snapshot of something that we said on social media and making judgments about who we are based on these things, right? Like the same things that we do to other people. And that's what I'm realizing about this whole thing, Taisha. That's why for me I was so taken aback, because the same things that we would never want someone to do to us, we turn around and do to someone else, because we're not actually paying attention to what we're doing, what we're saying, and we're behaving unconsciously. And again, I do want to be clear, because it sounds like from what you've told me, this was hell. This was a lot to go through.
Gosh. It was, I just couldn't even believe it at times. It just felt like it was, I would step outside of me and look back and go, are you really experiencing this? Is that real life? Are you dreaming? Girl, wake up. We can go ahead and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
I found one of the things I found so disturbing was, even when, and I've had people apologize, I've had people actually make posts on their page or send me a message, or they'll post it again and tag me and go, I owe this woman or I owe this lady or whatever an apology. I think we owe her an apology. I was just talking too fast. Look at her. She's just, she's working hard. She's trying to do what we're trying to do, and I hope one day. So that I can appreciate. But like I was saying, the part that I found so disturbing was that people would say, oh, well, no, it is possible because she lives in this area, and that's just an expensive area in that part of California, one of the expensive areas in that part of California, and they go, well, so what, she's still a dummy because she chose that. Well, she could possibly be making that kind of money because your income is, in a sense, reflective of the area.
Right.
That you live in, depending on the stance you take when you're evaluating it. And they'll say, well, so what? Look at her, she's ugly. It was just, I got to beat her down. I have to. I don't care what you can show me, what type of rebuttal you come with, in what way you can prove me wrong. Anything that you can show me to support whatever her argument could be. I have to tear her down. They went from, she works and she's educated and she's still, well, why didn't she put her student loans? Well, she's still in school, so they're probably not due right now. Well, so what? You see that headboard? She doesn't look like she has any money. And they're going, okay, there are a couple of lines. One is, I don't want to call her name, but, that they take on that vintage look, and maybe it's solid wood and blah, blah, blah. Well, so what? Look at her $5 jewelry. Look at her face. And she should have, and I was like, okay, well, that's a no-win. Just let them be upset, and I appreciate you standing up and trying to teach, but they don't want to hear it. They want to be in the place that they are in, and I'm with you on that. Why?
Right.
Why? I also looked at it. I felt disappointment also, because when I say you teach someone how to treat you, we teach people how to treat us. Mm-hmm. So I had a handful of white women and white men come in my inbox. Girl, I'm proud of you. I can't believe these black people going against their black women like this. Y'all supposed to be lifting each other up. Y'all go through enough. How are they okay with tearing you down when they know how hard it is for you to pull yourself up? my sentiments exactly. Why was that okay? I was just so disappointed. Overall, I mean, thousands, not 100, 200, even that's too many. Thousands, plural, all caps, tearing me to shreds. Oh, she's Section 8. She's ghetto. She got to be in the project. She a lot. And I'm like, okay, where's Section 8 coming from? You know, and I appreciate Section 8 because people do need that as a stepping stone at times. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, not everybody, but people have needed that, and that helped them move forward. So I do not knock anybody that utilize government assistance. Because everybody, you understand, every race utilizes government assistance. So I don't have any issue with that. But the way they make it, they use it so negatively. And I'm like, okay, why is it only, I mean, what's the problem? No, look at her. She'd probably get food stamps and buy 40s. Those classic stereotypes. It was like a no-win. And I'm going, y'all are doing this in droves. And it's public. And, you know, everybody else is looking at this. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so you know what? Maybe when we have these horrible things that happen on television, where you have someone white or non-black murder a black person or they harm a black person instantly without a second thought, and they say, I was afraid. I was terrified. I looked at them and I thought negative stuff that could possibly be true, because what are you guys doing? You're looking at me and you're automatically thinking the absolute worst, and you're showing the world. We think this way about us also. But then you're upset when they're gunning us down, or they're discriminating against us, or they're blatantly disrespecting us. You're upset, and it's like, but you're teaching them this about you.
Now you just said a word, Taisha, so you know that you're going to get a lot of backlash for that. But here's the thing.
Yeah, I already know. It's all right.
Here's the thing. You know, I share your sentiments, because I think that we gotta remember this: the oppressed or the perceived oppressed can always say things that the oppressor or the perceived oppressor cannot say. This is why I can say the word nigga, but a white person, we would lambast them for that, right? Yeah. Because that's how this thing works, people. It's about divide and conquer. But we keep falling for the same tricks over and over and over. That we don't even realize that it's all a trick. This is all a trick so that you are divided, because you're easily conquerable when you're divided, right? That's the big trick in all of this. And so if we somehow learn that we have more similarities than we do differences, I don't know how many people don't complain about the cost of things going up, the cost of their rent. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm an attorney, and, you know, I do pretty well. But I had to, in living in the Washington, D.C. area, I could not afford to rent anymore. Because when rent is actually $2,000, for real, when student loans talking about $3,000 a month, unless you got strippers and sugar daddies like on, you know, what? Seriously, this is real life. But instead of attacking the system that made things this way, we're attacking each other for being a byproduct of that system. How does that? That's sort of like, you know, it's like putting food in your stomach that's going to give you gas and gonna make you poop, and then you're upset because you're pooping. It's the byproduct of what you've received. It's the byproduct of that. It's the waste that you've received from what you've put in your system, right? And so this is what I think about, you know, Taisha. Like, I talked last week, like I said at the beginning of the show, I talked about energy and currency being the exact same thing. Currents flow, energy flow. It's the exact same things. The words mean the same thing, right? The thing that I realize is that both of them are about using resources, using the energy, using the tools, using the resources that you have to obtain something that you value.
Absolutely.
And so I'm realizing that you give your energy to what motivates you towards your goal. What moves you towards your goal is what you give your energy to.
Absolutely.
And so I just wonder, when we are being petty, and I ask if you're on Facebook and ask yourself this question, because we got to do better than this, people. Like, there are things happening. If you're not paying attention to what's happening, I'm sorry. There are some big things happening politically and all over the world that impact all of us. Now more than ever, we need to find our commonalities, because our divisions are going to make sure that we remain enslaved to a system that we have relinquished our power to other people, because we don't believe that we have any. Because we believe that the power exists outside of ourselves, when it does not. It exists internally.
Absolutely.
But we won't look internally. For everything that we have, we look to someone else to do it. Be the change you want to see. Nope, you be the change I want to see. That's not what this is about. That's not how this works. So no more than you can feed yourself, no more than you can feed yourself and someone else poops it out. Doesn't work that way. It's about what you feed you, right? It's about the energy that you give to yourself, the energy that you're allowing into your ecosystem, into your body, into your life, into your space. And so I always wonder, what's the end game? As we're online bullying people, telling people to kill themselves. In real life, adults, we're telling people to kill themselves. What's the end game, folks? Like, seriously, black people, what was the end game of telling this sister to kill herself because you disagree with a Facebook post? This is where we are. And so if she killed herself, then what? Would you be happy then? Would that satisfy you?
She's done, because it would have been my fault.
Right. It would have been your fault.
There would have been no accountability at all.
Absolutely.
No accountability.
Absolutely.
It would have definitely been my fault.
And you're so right about that. And I really think that we don't pay attention to what we give our energy to, what we give our time to, what we give our money to, what we give our currency. We don't pay attention to those things, because just like elections have consequences, all of these actions that we're putting into place, all of these things that we're putting our energy behind. Remember, energy doesn't die. It simply transfers, right? Mm-hmm. Energy does not die. And so all of these things that we're putting our currency and our power behind, they keep moving in perpetuity until something stops it. Something of an equal force must stop the energy. And so, absolutely, brothers and sisters, I challenge us, stop this energy. It's negative and it's only depleting what you need to thrive. Because if I think about it like this, Taisha. If you are living off of junk food, right? If all you eat is potato chips and pizza, and if that is your diet is filled with what you eat, what you consume, whether that be what you see, what you hear, what you think, all of that is a part of your diet because you're consuming it. If all you're consuming is low energy things, then you won't have energy to fight.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I do want to say that I had to realize also, so I had to be realistic and recognize that there is a narrative that's been in place for hundreds of years regarding people of color, and in this instance, black people. I'm black, so that's what I relate to. But there has been this narrative, and we have apparently, allegedly been trying so hard to fight against it, to change that narrative. And some people, we don't, and I try to remind myself, the same way other races are taught to hate blacks, we're taught that too.
Right.
We all are seeing the same images. We're hearing the same propaganda.
Right.
So we are being taught to hate us as well as others.
Right.
We're hearing the same stuff. They don't feed us this, but then give everyone that. They give it all to us. Subliminally, however they want to, we all get the same thing. So we internalize that.
Absolutely.
But at some point, you know it. Once you figure it out, and you know, you have to make the conscious effort to do better, to go against it, to inform yourself, to learn. And then we can go ahead and start figuring out, okay, well, somebody else is watching us. I know we doing it all for shits and giggles on Facebook, and our friends like it, and we got 100 views, 200 views, and da-da-da-da-da, but this is here forever. This is here forever. Someone else is going to watch this. We're teaching them how to treat us like we don't already know any better. And also, I consider just what you were saying, piggybacking off the energy. I am huge on meditation. I understand that no one is responsible for making us happy other than ourselves. The positive energy in, then you get positive out. And like you said, if all you consume is junk food, that's going to have a direct effect on you internally. So if all you're feeding yourself, your soul, your mind is negative stuff, it's going to have a direct effect on you. I tell people, I was just telling a young lady, she got in my inbox and started discussing some things, and I'm like, girl, you got it. I say the simplest thing I can tell you to do is find you some positive affirmations to listen to every day. Just play them in your background. I am this, I am that. Positive affirmations. Play things at night, higher frequency things, higher energy things. Start feeding yourself that. Little by little, you'll start to notice that change. And then when the negative stuff starts to come into your life, you won't feel good. It won't be normal. So you won't be able to accept it. So you will either remove it or you'll get yourself away from it. But you have to start with you. No one else can do it for you.
Absolutely. And with that said, I do want to thank you, first of all, thank you so much for, choosing our platform to tell your side of the story, and to talk about what has helped you through this process. And from what you've described, it sounds like you've been able to be an alchemist of sorts and transmute your energy, and learning how to take the negative and turn it into something positive, something that's actually going to feed you, as opposed to drain you of your energy like vampires, right? Because I challenge us all to not be energy vampires, right? To not take more than you are giving, because it all balances out at the end. Some way or the other, it balances out. And so if you want good outcomes, you got to have a good output in order to receive good things. And so, not just, because again, I want to be careful and I want to be clear. I do not believe that anybody other than you are the standard. So when I talk to my black sisters and my brothers, no one else is the standard but you. So as we talk about they are listening, I don't care. I don't care. They are not the standard. I'm speaking to my people that look like me, my people that understand the struggle, because it's different. It's different. It's absolutely different. And so I'm talking to people that look like me, that know hardship, that know what it's like. And I'm not saying that other people don't, but I'm saying it's a different thing to wear a target outside your body every single day. It's different. So while we all have commonalities, I challenge us to find those commonalities and to build on those, because I guarantee you, eventually we're going to need to come together and to unify and to find those commonalities, because the things that are going to make the things that make us different, they just make us unique. It's not bad, it's not good, it's just different. And that's okay. That's okay. And that's actually a beautiful mosaic web that we weave when we understand that it's our differences that are beautiful. And so I thank you again, Taisha. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Thank you. I wish you peace and blessings. If you want to, and if you ever want to come back on the show and and talk about your experience again, if you want to, any of the aftermath that is, because I know it's only been a week. So I don't know what's going to happen next, but it sounds like you are in a good place, and that's all that I can ask for you. That's all I can want for you, is to be able to have, you know, something positive come out of the experience. And so I thank you so much. And if you're listening on Facebook, I know we were supposed to take breaks, but we, you know, the conversation was flowing and all.
I know.
So, you know, always remember, sisters, you don't have to carry all the bags you've been given. We were all put here to help each other. But we can't do that if we're constantly taking and taking and taking and spitting vitriol to people and putting out negative energy to people. Because at the end of the day, we got to understand that what we put out is a reflection of what we feel inside. And that is absolutely the truth. And so I ask you, do you like what you see when you look in the mirror? And if you don't, you really got to spend some time and figure out why. Because it's nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault. Now, there may have been players and actors in your story, but that's not your story. It's still being written, and you are the author. And so just the way that Taisha has decided to write her story and not allow trolls and negative people to write her story, I challenge you to write your story and to choose who you're going to be in your own story, because that's this thing called life. But thank you so much. Always remember to love yourself before you can even attempt to love anybody else. But tune in next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thanks so much. Have a great week. Taisha, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I really enjoyed that conversation.